Welcome, everybody, to the Three Brothers Talking podcast. You'll notice at the beginning of this, we have a bit of a disagreement about which episode number this is, and we're all wrong. So the actual episode number is 65 for what it's worth. I don't know why it matters, but I guess it does. Anyway, enjoy the podcast.
You don't know what get us down means right now. I guess I'm just going to break it down for you.
All right, we're live. Probably. I'm live.
We're all here.
I'm live, and we're all here, except we're all also there because we're all in our own places. Because
respectable distancing again.
Yeah, we're respectable distancing because I don't know, life is busy. We all have kids, and two of us are on baby duty tonight, so that's why.
Yep.
But
You said duty.
But
the kiddos are asleep, so life is good.
And now we just pray
not
at the
asleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why it took a little while because Micah decided that he needed to go poopy. I think
well,
so.
Micah
he was
plays
very
tricks.
intrigued by my. Well, he did have to go, but he was very intrigued by my post Tenebras Lux T-shirt, and he kept
It is
asking
cool.
me about it. I
It is
told
cool.
him so
And Andrew just had to run, maybe because Andrew's hearing a kid. We'll never know. Anyway,
no, he's back. That's too quick for a kid.
he's back. Anyway, so this is what episode is this? I think this is 63. Jeremy, you and I did 62,
I don't even
right?
know.
And
Sure.
I let out a little mini pod this week. Also a video. Sometimes, and I mean sometimes, we have a YouTube video that comes out. And I mean sometimes, because
What?
it is rare. Well, most of these episodes are turned into YouTube videos, but you can't see us. It's just the thing. But some people will just listen to stuff on YouTube all day, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just a shout out. If you want to get content like 3 times a year, go to our YouTube, our YouTube feed.
If you want
that's a big
if you want to
promise.
see some video.
Yeah, if you want to see some video 3 times a year. Anyway, this is probably episode 63 or 64 of Three Brothers Talking, your podcast about stuff. I'm David.
I'm Andrew.
I am Jeremy.
Just like old times, we're back
Yeah.
together.
I feel like it's been quite a while.
Well, it's been at least a few months.
Yeah.
And we are back together. Last time Jeremy and I did a podcast, we said how it took forever to get back into it, and we didn't feel like we were into it until like the very end. We said it was like this baseball game that's just scoreless, but not because the pitchers are amazing, but just because the baseball game is boring.
Yeah.
And that's coming from somebody. I love baseball, so I'm not saying baseball is boring. I'm saying those games where nobody is really that good, but also nobody scores. And
Well,
let's not go for that this time.
Tonight, we're going to be that good off the start.
That's right. High scoring, high energy, off the top. This
That's
is
what
though
they're
a
here
flu
for.
game. This is a
Yeah.
flu game for one of us. Jeremy's on a flu game. Michael Jordan levels flu game. We don't need to
I
get
mean,
into the details. It's
I don't
not
say
COVID.
I
That's
am-
good.
The definition
I
of
was like, you're just going to
perseverance.
tell everybody he's sick? He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
He's fine.
He's persevering.
Yeah.
I'm persevering. The Saints are
That's right.
persevering, and they're marching in.
As I
right.
sneeze on
As
recording.
Andrew sneezes, we'll see if we cut that out of the recording. Probably not.
Yeah.
I say you
Off
leave
to a
it
good
in.
start.
I'm fine as well.
Yeah. So everything good since we last recorded. I mean, I've got a son. He's about 2 months, almost 2.5 months now. Life is pretty
Young.
good. I'm getting to just another update. I get to preach 2 weeks in a row coming up soon.
What?
August
Yeah,
29th and
that-
September 5th.
I thought you were on this week, so Jeff
Okay, so
reminded me you
you're,
weren't.
Yeah. So maybe I'll post those somewhere where
Not
people
this
can
week,
see them.
but the next
that'd
2
be
weeks.
some good content
right.
for us, David. That
That's
way
good
we
content.
we could just add some more apps without Andrew and I doing anything.
If anybody wants to look them up, I mean, I was like, Dave, I'm assuming you're continuing in
Colossians. Yeah.
is our series
Yeah.
currently. So
I'm preaching
that's what
on.
we're-
So
yeah.
how this happened is that Jeff asked me if I wanted to preach first sermon since Haddon's been born, because obviously life's been busy. And Jeff asked me if I wanted to preach Colossians 1:15-20, which is where it talks about Christ being the fullness of God, preeminent, all that stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Oh, I also love the next. I assume that the next passage is going to be 21 through 23, where it talks about being hostile in mind and reconciled to Christ. And I said, I love that passage too. And Jeff just said, Jeff's one of the pastors at our church, by the way. He said, well, why don't you preach that one as well? And I was like, oh, okay. You tricked me into that one. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Doubled up
You
there.
kind of volunteered, but didn't volunteer.
You walked right
You
into
walked
it.
right into
it.
Okay. Yeah.
It was more like
So it'll be
you just
good.
walked straight into it without seeing it coming.
That's right. This is the first time I'm preaching in a quote unquote big church back-to-back weeks. I've done it for a few months in a row when I covered youth group at our old church, but this is the first like big sermons 2 weeks in a row.
big church.
Back to backs, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I was like, you preached at our church a number
A
of
lot.
times.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Just
but,
not back to back.
Not back to back.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. And other than that, life is pretty good.
Which is actually 4 preachings because you have to do 2
Yeah,
services.
we got two services.
Yeah, you're preaching
Oh, man.
so much.
I'm doing hospitality league, so I'm going to hear you like 6 times.
You hear me a whole
Yeah.
lot. Also,
much times.
another update is that I ran out. This is the last of my Four Roses bottle. I also have a
it's,
Four Roses single barrel. That was a gift from my boss. Thank you to my boss.
Does he
And it
listen
was
to
at that point of the. I think he does actually
Oh, man.
sometimes. But
I'll make sure
I
I don't
got
say anything,
this.
you know.
It was in this part
So
of
this
the
is
pot.
a shameless plug to get him to
Yeah.
get you another bottle.
Or
That's
give us
right.
all some bottles. Is that what
Well,
you're
I
trying to
still
say?
have a bottle. He would do it because he's awesome.
I know he
but
would. I was talking
um,
to Faith yesterday about that, actually.
As David butters him up. Yeah.
that's right.
If you'd like to support the
But
pod.
anyway, you know, whenever you got a little bit in a bottle left, and you're like, I just need to finish it. This isn't 2
Yeah.
servings, but then you
Yep.
pour it, and you're like, this
When
might
you're
be
in
actually.
between, yeah.
Well, you think it's only 1, and then you pour it, and it's actually like 3. So I have a
Yeah.
much bigger pour than I thought I was gonna have tonight.
It's always tough. Yeah. When you get towards the end of the bottles and you don't, because you don't want to save like a half a pour and
I always
or whatever
underestimate
you
it
end
though.
up- Yeah, you always
Yeah.
kind of underestimate it, but yeah, like you don't want to be left with just like this little taste.
Exactly.
Obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
You
So,
want enough to
there you go.
enjoy.
yeah.
It's kind of hard. I get it.
It's hard to estimate, man.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing.
Well, Andrew, you haven't been on the pod really in a long time, so
I mean, we've only
Yeah,
been on
what-
once in a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
What's a life update for you? You got anything going on?
So timeline wise, still working from home.
Will you ever not work from home, Andrew?
Yeah. Kaylee is about ready to start up another school year here this week.
Yeah.
So she's back. She'll be back in the classroom. The kids will be back with the nannies starting in 2 days here.
Oh boy.
And so I'll be back to I'm still primarily from home, so I'll have like a quiet house just with the dog through the day, through most of the days, and see how we go and see how far that takes place.
It'd be weird having a
It
quiet
was-
house again.
Yeah, it was weird because we were planning on doing this whole kind of welcome back to basically whoever wanted to come back to our headquarters was going to be this second week of September coming up, and then they just kind of pushed that off further, and it's still to be determined.
Yeah, because
But,
now it's
like-
like, well, we're not going to plan it for December 2nd. I
Yeah.
guess.
So yeah, and they didn't announce anything. They're just like, obviously, it's just kind of up in the air. So
Come back if you want to.
basically, the current plan is like whoever wants to come back can come back, but most people are just going to keep doing what they're doing, and that is what it is. And I was like, it doesn't change much for me. But yeah, I'm not coaching soccer this season, so it's a little weird. Have a little more time with the family now. Time at home, obviously, because I'm working here.
Plenty of time at
and-
home.
Yeah, plenty of time at home. But it's been good. Obviously, Addie just crossed over the 1 year birthmark. So
That's right. Some people call that a birthday.
a birthday. Yeah. So she did that actually. So since we've been gone, we went on family vacation. I had a bachelor trip. I had travel up to my wife's family up in Cleveland. So it's been hectic. And we actually had Addie's birthday while we were on family vacation down in Florida. But it was good. So
Andrew is the
she's-
worst at staying at home.
Yeah.
If we were to rate stay-at-home orders. Andrew's famous. The
We
worst
don't
at
do
it.
it a whole lot, and honestly we were supposed to be gone this weekend too, but on topic, we had someone, Kaylee's family up in Cleveland, who just got dinged with the COVID bell, so we did
Dinged
not go
with the
there.
COVID bell. They're good.
So
Just for the record,
yeah.
they're fine.
They are fine. But yeah, obviously we did not want to take us and the kiddos into
Hey,
the
let's
house,
come visit.
So
Yeah.
we
Andrew,
just
real
stayed
quick,
home.
you went to Colorado. You're the only,
Yep.
Jeremy. Have you ever been to Colorado? I don't think you have.
Yeah, I have. Faith
You
was there.
have?
Remember after she went to
Oh,
Texas,
that's
she
right.
was there. So then we went to Colorado Springs.
Okay.
I went on.
I
went
wanna
on
go to
a
Colorado
long
Springs.
weekend bachelor trip to Colorado.
I want to go to Colorado Springs really bad one day. Rachel and I almost went there when we went to Naples, but we were too burned out. We were like, we just want an easy beach vacation. So
Yeah.
where would you guys rate, Andrew, what area were you in, and would you rate it as like a must go see?
I absolutely I loved it. And we definitely, like, when I came back, I was like, look, Kaylee, at some point we need to get out there in the winter, like, and actually try some skiing or something like that, because I think that'd be awesome. We stayed in Keystone, which is so like the Denver airport. It's about a 2-hour drive into the mountains from the Denver airport. So if you're not familiar, like, you got the Denver airport, which is out in the plains, and then you drive in, 2 hours to actually get into the start of all of the mountains.
Okay.
And that's where we were tucked in there.
When do they hand you the edibles or the pot? Is that right at the plane?
So
Sorry.
yeah, no, they do not.
They don't. Okay. Oh, sorry.
Funny story
Yeah.
about that. Faith said after they all go back from training for Colorado, 'cause they send all the people in the place to that in Colorado Springs, so they all have some random drug tests when they get back.
Oh, I'm sure.
That's like in The Office when Michael said he's going to test Toby, and he said, "I'm testing you."
Yeah, Faith
randomly.
Faith was pregnant when she was there, so yeah.
So
There you go.
obviously it's completely it's a whole different, like, just thinking out there, because it's so casual that it's
everyone's
legal
high.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So not everybody's walking around high, but obviously, like, it's just kind of out in public. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, we're not used to that.
Which,
Which, by
it's
the way,
just
I don't think we should be used to it, for the record.
Yeah, but like it's
Whoa.
basically like if you went back a number of years and it was how, like, cigarettes were used or, like, looked at.
That's
I
interesting.
think
because
cigarettes are
Because obviously they're not very popular these days, but
it is funny.
but yeah, it's super weird because, like, you're not supposed to be, like, doing it just, like, in general public, but yet
Fat chance.
there's very little, like, police actual, like, monitoring out there. So it feels like really laid back and just whatever
It's recreational,
goes.
right?
Yeah.
You have to be 18 or 21, or what is it?
I don't know. Honestly,
Okay.
I think it's 18. I mean,
I didn't ask because
I hope it's not
getting on any list.
It was-
I've already been on
it
enough
was
lists
funny
in my
because
life, so.
several
I sound
of the
so
guys,
old, but I don't care.
several of the guys on this bachelor trip obviously wanted the experience of, like, going to a dispensary and just seeing what it's like.
They wanted to see a legal pot dealer.
Yeah, like they went and did it, and they had no idea what they were doing. They, like, the guy
It's a
asked them
store.
what
How do you not know what
Yeah.
you're doing?
Well, like, the guy asked them,
It's a
like,
store.
what they want, and they're just like,
Pot.
something. Yeah, like, he's like, because obviously they have a whole bunch of different choices.
Yeah.
But then, like, they get some, and then they get to the house and they realize, oh, like, we have to, like, roll this ourselves, and we don't have a lighter. And like, we are not, we're not set up to actually partake of this at all. And
So
we're
all we did
clearly-
was buy a weird souvenir
we got, like, this little, like, pill box of weed
that nobody
yeah.
used.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, they tried to use it, and they tried to get a roll on it, and then they tried to light it with a grill, which I would not
Yikes.
advise.
This sounds like
But,
something
yeah.
you do when you're high. It's like with the
it
grill.
it quickly burned up and, like, didn't really do anything.
yeah. Just to
We
be
went
clear, the podcast does not endorse smoking
No.
marijuana. Bad
No.
for you.
It
Yeah.
would be interesting to have a discussion, like, looking at just your history So since now smoking is so like normal smoking is so
Smoking's kind of the
passe,
taboo. Yeah.
But with the rise of e-cigarettes and the rise of medicinal and recreational marijuana, I guess seeing the curves and also seeing government backing behind certain studies over the years and the money they get from that kind of, or anyone gets from that.
It's also interesting too because all of the Colorado roads are set up for tolls and on their turnpikes and stuff, but they're all turned off because a large portion of that is that the tax revenue has shifted so much to marijuana and everything so that they don't need to run the tolls.
As people who are doing more business and seeing more people come to different areas of Ohio making growing facilities, it's just interesting. And it's also probably always fun to like, this will end, like funding quickly can come and go. Because laws change very drastically. But I guess I just think about the ramifications of how they all interact together. Over the years.
It's interesting.
David, to answer your question.
Sorry, real fast. There's a book I want to read. I don't know if it's out yet. I think it is. It's called Devoured by Cannabis, and it's a Douglas Wilson book.
I do want to read
and it's his thoughts trying to give a biblical perspective on like marijuana, legalized marijuana, things like that. So I don't know if it's out. A better person than me would already know if it's out, but
it'd be
really
an interesting read.
Yeah, because it's I do think that it's, and this is not a podcast episode about marijuana.
I don't know. Yeah,
we're definitely not prepared to talk about that.
Obviously, we talked Denver, so yeah.
We talked Denver. It's got to come up. No, but obviously, I think it's wrongheaded and it's shallow to say like. It's shallow to say, well, you know, isn't it just like drinking beer? And that's a shallow way to think about it because it's obviously a different thing. Obviously a different thing in a lot of different ways. So I'm excited to read that book at some point. Maybe that'll be a book club book. That could be a really interesting one.
Then we just read all these Doug Wills books, and that's a problem.
Yeah, we have to get a different author in there.
Doug Wills books.
Jeremy, we went really quickly.
In Colorado Springs, the Manitou Incline is good. Just this really high hike. I did that the morning after I just got off the flight, and I was very tired and winded because it's not very good to do that when you're also jet lagged. But it was fun. Just like when I went to Albuquerque and ran right afterward, and that also is not good. But Faith, so we went to go the Garden of the Gods hiking.
That's where I want to go.
Big national park and super cool.
Yeah.
They actually have like a little like farm in the end, which is like an old historic farm kind of thing. But Faith was pregnant and far along pregnant. Well, probably midway through, I think. No,
not for her because
she was very pregnant.
I think it was March. She was like right in the second trimester. So
she goes until she has an extra trimester anyway. I mean,
that's also
she
true.
was. You know, but, Maddie came along so late. She was basically a third of the way in the pregnancy.
This was Micah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, she thought she was pregnant. That was like right before, actually. Never mind.
Was Micah early?
No,
you guys went late.
She was the day. He was the day
he was right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rachel and I.
That's another fun thing.
Rachel and I were a week early, and
that's us exactly too. Yeah.
You guys were a week early,
but both children were exactly 1 week early.
Yeah. Apparently, Rachel's mom was a week early, or not a week early, but like she was always ahead of schedule, so to speak. Yeah. And I noticed an interesting pattern with like how the mom, it seems to somehow how your mom handled it is how you tend to handle it.
It'll be interesting when we get pregnant the third time. And since they were forced Maddie
announcement?
No, there's no announcement. Since Faith was really forced to get induced on because they gave us some really bad information in that whole process. And if the third pregnancy also goes late by like 41, 42 weeks.
Or 44 or 45.
No, they won't go past 43.
The brothers are coming over and we're calling it.
Just saying, hey, she did it last time and she did great. She did 11 pounds, 21 some inch baby after 43 weeks. Pretty impressive in our
because
kitchen,
like 2 weeks ago, Haddon crossed into like, he's now almost, I think he's 12 some pounds, but a few weeks ago he crossed into 11 pounds, and Rachel and I just had this realization of like, man, Maddie was this big.
That's
Maddie
what
was that big.
And he's 2 months old, and he's this big.
Is, it would be interesting when that comes, and if she's not ready, what I guess thinking
then
back,
you know, like, this is
a
why.
lot more.
Yeah,
but you don't know.
so this is not a pot podcast, and it's not a pregnancy one. Although there might be an interesting
more national
thing.
Park, David, you would enjoy just going back. You would enjoy going to the gut. It is a cool hike.
Gotcha.
I would go back and rehike. I think it'd be fun to do that.
Yeah, the hiking, I was like, ours was really tame, and like the golf course that we played at was immaculate in the like literally in the middle of the mountains.
Dang.
So like you'd tee off, like you'd hit up elevation and down elevation, and then we hiked too, and we got up to just literally out the backside of where we stayed. We hiked over 7 miles and got above 11,500 feet elevation.
Wow.
Like to a peak. And so, it's pretty awesome. So I would definitely go back, and I want to go back and actually try to, now we've made some friends out there that like have ski memberships. So I would love to go out there and like try to ski. Yeah.
Dang.
Well, part of this like groomsmen bachelor party thing, like a couple of the guys were local there. So
Are they fairly local?
Nice. They've been around.
Okay, good.
They've seen the streets you're walking down.
How funny would it be? Just this, I'm not going to tell Faith this. We'll see if she listens. I just had a random idea. If she just came home after getting dinner with your wife, Andrew, and I just had a mustache only, how funny would that be?
Well, we'll see if it happens.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to happen, but I'm just saying it'd be funny. So just had the thought. I feel like I'd share it.
It's now time.
What are we talking about?
It's now time to do a quick. I don't know if we want to call this COVID trivia. Which, by the way, I'm using an actual microphone tonight for the first time in a long time. Hopefully, it sounds good. And I just realized I'm not remembering. I'm used to being lazy and like not having to keep my mouth focused, like on a microphone. So hopefully I'm doing a good job of that.
I think you're doing a good job, Dave.
We wanted to do these COVID questions. These are not questions. These are questions, not really trivia about what's going on, but more so about how the last, year and a half has been. So as an example, none of us, I don't know if you guys have questions ready. I have a few of them.
Are this our expert opinions on everything? Like we're experts. Okay.
Expert opinions. We haven't seen these questions before. I'll ask the first one here.
I didn't know we were supposed to prepare.
Well, exactly. Did you guys ever sanitize your groceries or anything that came into your house?
No. I would sanitize my hands if I touch something gross. That's about it. That's just normal.
We definitely stepped up having like sanitizer available. Like we had some in each of our cars and coming in so that whenever we went into stores or something like that, we just sanitized whenever we came out. But we never really sanitized objects.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we ever did.
All your fruits and vegetables.
I mean, I know people that literally let their groceries sit for a couple days before they unpack them. And then I know people that let their mail sit as well for a couple days.
Yeah. I think at some point, I don't know what it was, because I'm a little more like, I don't know, not just about that, but like whatever sicknesses in general. Like I'm a little more careful about those things sometimes. But even so, at the beginning of all this, it just was not a thing for me to worry about. It just seemed like the least thing to worry about.
I think that Ricky, I remember Ricky and I talking about it during the beginning. So we would sanitize.
That's our cousin, by the way.
Our cousin Ricky, who works with me. So we would sanitize our office more, and we definitely gave the guys and everyone hand sanitizer to keep in their cars and stuff like that. And we had to keep masks on hand for our employees. We didn't.
Our office had more sanitary wipes than it ever had before.
Right. Yeah. We would do every Friday. We would probably wipe down the tables. That was about it. Which is probably good practice anyway.
Yeah. If you go into our headquarters now, you still have literally every 20 feet is a table with masks and sanitizer sitting out. for every.
Not in my
Thank you.
office. Yeah, it's not
I have
in
a question
No,
off this,
yeah.
David Bradford. But no, I remember Ricky and I sitting there thinking at the end of it, like, just like, man, I never was so like, I didn't want to touch my face. We never like, we just touch our face randomly. But I kept saying, don't touch your face because it could be on your hands.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Yeah.
I've never just sat there and thought all day, like, oh my gosh, my face is so itchy
Don't-
right now.
yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
want to wipe it.
I just want to touch it.
The more you
When
think
can
about
I
it, you're
touch my
like, oh,
face again?
yeah.
Yeah.
When can I wear a mask without a beard and shaving? Because they said even
Yeah.
like beards and stuff like that you shouldn't have. And
Mhm.
Yeah, whatever. So you
yeah.
have a question, Jeremy, is that what you said?
yeah. So off
Okay.
your question, I know people who also, and this is also, I want to preface this with, I'm not judging anyone for doing these things.
I am.
None of
No.
Well,
no, we're not. No, these are just
everyone was
questions
trying
that
to
have
do the
fun.
best information they had.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
This was
So-
all. I was like, we're walking back in time here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I know people that did this. We never did it.
Yeah.
But also going back, Faith was pregnant, and so I also had another run of fun. But did
Oh,
you
yeah.
ever change clothes in the garage before you got into the house?
Ange?
There. Well, we never did that.
Okay.
But there was. So one time, very early on, I forget what the situation was, but Kaylee's younger brother was coming to stay at our house with us, who was in Columbus just for the night. And he had been, so his job was, he was out. Yeah. He does, concrete leveling. So he does the actual sales calls, and he's out at these people's houses
Mhm.
Yeah.
for, all day. So we, obviously he had been coming in contact with all these households.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kaylee basically made him at that point. They were like, all right, obviously we had 2 young kids, didn't know a lot. So he changed his clothes in our garage and then immediately went up to, before like coming in contact with the children, went and showered
You
at
didn't
our
hose
house.
him down outside?
No, he
Fixed the
went
lotion.
right up to our shower.
Fire hose.
Didn't,
Take a shower
went right up
outside.
to our shower, and then he could come down and like actually socialize with our children
Yeah.
and everything.
And that's
We-
not wrong. I guess
we
that
had-
doesn't.
yeah.
Well, no,
Go
we had one time. Rachel works. My wife is a nurse, and she, this was pretty early on. She, as she was leaving work, she was told a patient she had cared for was getting tested for COVID as she was leaving work. And this was early on. We're like, I think they had rapid tests or something. But anyway, so she tells me she calls me on the way home, and she's like, "What should I do? Like, we don't know that he has it. But I
Yeah.
cared for him, and now he's getting tested for it. We won't know if he had it until like this afternoon." And so she unfortunately, like, and the annoying thing about our house is there's not direct access from the garage to the house. You can get to it in like 2 steps from the garage door to the front door, but still.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a quick moment where I was like, all right, I'm going to lay this stuff out in the garage for you. You're going to, take off the scrubs in the garage, come right in, go to the shower, brush your teeth, like cleanse your entire whatever. That was the only time that we
Bleach
had a
yourself.
garage change.
David bleached his wife.
Man.
Bleached.
No, I don't think we ever did that. I just don't think we ever did. But I know people, and that's what a lot of it does. Like, if you have those kind of circumstances, it makes sense a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
that's where I was like, this was early on, and a lot.
Well, we
of
were being told
information
at the
has
beginning,
changed.
and then very
Yeah.
quickly changed that it could live on services for indefinitely. And you're like, okay,
Yeah.
really? Like, nothing does that in the world. Like, very few things live indefinitely. Like, mad cow is one of the few things that does that.
Jeremy's up with his mad cow knowledge. Look at that. Here's a question.
Yeah.
I know
Did-
things.
Did
I've
you
learned a
ever?
lot. I'm an
What
expert.
was your first?
There's
what
a
was your
lot.
first wrong prediction? I'll go first as an example. I remember the first year, because this all started getting shut down in like early March,
early March
and
2020.
Easter was I think early May.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically saying in one of our, I wasn't an elder yet, but in our leadership kind of council meetings, I remember saying, "Oh, we'll be back by Easter."
I remember you saying that. I
Yeah.
remember saying, no,
I-
you okay, David?
Yeah,
I remember. I was like, my first prediction was that
I was only a
this
year
would-
wrong. No,
My first
our church
prediction
started
that-
meeting in July, I
Yeah.
think, but yeah.
Yeah, we said, my guess was that it would fade out kind of over the Easter timeline, and by summer it'd be
Normal.
It would just be
You
back
didn't-
to normal.
You didn't think it'd only be 2 weeks to flatten the curve?
Yeah.
I didn't believe in 2 weeks from the start, but I definitely,
No, I knew
I
that
very
they
boldly
started it.
said, oh, we'll be back by Easter. And I think my friend was immediately like, no. And I was like, okay.
Well, that's where I was like, my only thought, like thinking back over this was like, I remember the day, I think it was like early March. It was like a Thursday.
Mhm.
And I remember that day in the office where everything kind of just fell apart.
Yeah, started getting
And-
shut down.
Yeah, and like everything was just shutting down. And then I remember towards the end of the day, all these rumors started swirling, and then the notice got circulated that like, hey, pack up your stuff and you're not coming back. Like,
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
like,
that
dude,
it doesn't
I remember
it
that
was so
meeting that we
weird.
had too. Yeah. It was like,
Yeah,
David,
and
you're
so,
going to go
like-
home today. Everyone else is going to go home like tomorrow. And I was like, oh, today, like right now.
yeah.
I texted
Yeah.
Rachel, like, I guess I'm coming home. Like, I don't,
And I never, like, so for us, like, I never thought that would be, now I'm going on a year and 6 months of being at home primarily. Like, I've gone in from time to time when I need to,
yeah.
but still just working primarily from home. And like, there's been this whole shift in culture of just like, well, now, we can work remotely just as efficiently as we can in the office. And, so be it.
I remember.
Jeremy, did you ever have a bad prediction?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember sitting there thinking, like, I honestly, well, there's many bad predictions. We'll start with the first one. I didn't
Yeah, there's a
actually
lot of them.
anticipate getting stimulus check 1. I knew we got stimulus
Yeah.
check 1. Stimulus 2 would be indefinite. So I guess revolving around that whole thing with like the eviction moratorium and all that stuff.
What was your
Um,
prediction? That it wouldn't
that it
happen?
was-
Or
I guess I was more hoping that it wouldn't happen
yeah.
and thinking it wouldn't happen. That being said, it is what it is. But
Yeah, but that
I
was
guess
on top of
we
you
had bad
not-
predictions. We were sitting
yeah.
there saying we kept everyone else shut down. We were like, okay, we went in the office for the next probably 3 weeks. Ricky would sit there, and I'm gonna use Ricky's name a lot just because she would like watch a lot of the HR stuff, and she was on top of it, and we talk about it because we all had to work and do stuff. But
Yeah.
we were thinking like, are we coming back in tomorrow? Like every day, me packing up my stuff,
Yeah.
making sure my home office is ready in case tomorrow I don't come back in.
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to happen. Like I remember seeing there's a lot of more speculation. Quotes stopped going out for construction for a little while, all that stuff. Cause it was like this could all end very quickly.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. I knew we were going to
Yeah.
shut down. And I knew it was going to be longer than 2 weeks. I guess the other ramifications of like what didn't get shut down kind of boggled my mind a little bit. Like I fully thought like, well, McDonald's has to close, but then I'm like, well, McDonald's, everyone eats out all the time now. So it's an essential business.
Well, yeah, I was like, a lot of people rely on that too.
That's what they call grocery
yeah.
shopping.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I guess those kind of things. But
Yeah, I was
that
ready-
I
yeah.
did not think we were actually going to shut down at all. I was more hopeful because I also saw the way the government, how just society was changing, and I'm like, we're gonna do
And
something
you could
here.
see, you could see because of the like people in big construction they have connections with
Yeah,
they have connections
knew.
and they know what's happening and they start planning accordingly. And so you, as a guy who deals with construction, you start to see like, oh, things are getting canceled, things are getting postponed.
Well, and then I saw
Yeah.
people like doing remote, like companies that especially specialize in logistics, distribution, and shipping. Big companies like prime companies started being like really getting bigger footings all throughout,
So
and their profit sharing go nuts.
dude, that was like maybe the
That was
smoothest.
such a subtle drop.
That was like, but honestly, that was maybe the smoothest thing you've ever pulled. That was,
Yeah.
it
I've gotten
actually
smoother.
took me a second. That was smart.
But just like those kind of things, like that will be the trend for a while, just because we're so dependent now on those kind of resources.
Dude, I can't believe how smooth that was. I'm in awe of
Thank
it
you.
still a little bit.
Yeah.
Here's the last question really quick, unless you guys have one. What was did you ever panic or bulk buy something? If so, what did you buy? I told Rachel to buy as much.
Yeah, I know Jeremy did.
I did not bulk buy that
There's
much.
a funny story
real
about
fast.
that.
All right, so real fast for Rachel and I told Rachel, buy as much chicken as you're allowed to buy every time you go to the
I
store.
told Faith that too. Actually, I still tell Faith that. Like, buy an extra thing of chicken. Just
we will freeze it. We will buy as much as we can every time we can buy it. That was the one for us.
We never did.
No toilet paper?
I did one store. One
I was
trip.
like so our toilet paper is already in bulk because we do Sam's Club.
Classic.
And so like that's where like we get the big quantities with our normal monthly grocery shopping anyway. But yeah, we didn't do anything. I know Jeremy
take it away.
I did one bulk buy, and I also in that bulk buy
which we should get. Okay, we should get Faith's perspective.
That's fine.
On
You
this
can
bulk
ask her,
buy
and you
as
can
well.
add this to the podcast later.
Okay.
My bulk buy, and this is also bad timing. So we had just not the best time, but we only had one humidifier, and I bought a second humidifier. We also had at least 3 rooms. I'm like, okay, with fighting colds and whatnot, we need a second humidifier.
We have at least 3 rooms in our house. I like that
Well, I'm
breakdown.
thinking at least 2 of us need a humidifier at once with 3 people, like just in general with kids and stuff.
Doing the math here.
In that bulk buy, also my wife loved ramen noodles, and I could not buy ramen noodles anywhere. And I'm like, I'm going to make sure my wife gets ramen noodles. So I found the single serving ramen noodles and bought I don't even know how many. I bought the shelf, and I'm like, I'm buying all these because I can't order them in time.
What's it? 69 cup of noodles like for Kevin in the office? Is that what it was?
Just like that. So there was one bulk buy. I bought a second propane tank. So I should get another. I would like another one of these anyway.
Boy, there's more to this list than I thought.
That
was all one trip, and it was still not that bad.
Wasn't there some preserved meats in that bulk buy too?
You mean Slim Jims?
I bought some bologna. It was like Oscar Mayer bologna, which to be fair, as
it was
a bachelor,
just
I would have eaten anyway.
Andrew, it was just 50 pounds of bologna. Okay,
it was one package of bologna or ham and cheese. It was not that much.
Okay, gotcha.
But it was more than we normally would buy. So there you go.
I'm glad this came up because my only perspective, I heard this story from Faye's perspective, his wife's, and she was just like, I think it was some point where like some other argument had happened or something.
It was on the heels of another big buy that I had.
And then she brought up the fact that she's got like 80 cup of noodles sitting in her pantry that Jeremy expects me to eat like for the next month. And
I love it.
But to be fair, they last forever.
And I think she called it spam instead of bologna. But she's like, how does he expect us to eat that?
It was something like that. And it was
if you would have gotten spam.
I thought, to be fair, it was just like Oscar Mayer bologna. I'm like, I'll eat that in a sandwich. If I don't have anything else, it's not that big of a deal.
Bologna.
Like I would eat that. But we've all been bachelors at one point.
Hey.
No, I mean it was enjoyable for me.
I'm not going to say it wasn't. But
this is why we said we're not. This is why we said we're not judging people because we've made. Yeah,
I got to, and I'm glad I got to experience it the way I did. So it was.
Yeah, I'm glad
it was
you
a good
did
story.
too. So that's the other part. If you would have told her, she's like, yeah, it's some extra stuff, but also was like, well,
do you still have some of the cup of noodles?
No, I think we used it all. I think we have 1 cup left after that, which still is not. Yeah.
So you've been putting those cup of noodles down.
She likes ramen noodles. Like, I'm sorry, and it's a cheap meal and it lasts forever. So why?
I mean, it does.
Whatever, man. Yeah. This is America.
I mean, I was like, my only big thought. Like, did you guys ever think that? I mean, I know what's changed for me, like from a corporate perspective, is like now this like remote work. For everything that's from a corporate perspective is basically like just expected.
Yeah.
And like I never thought about that going in of like this being a major shift of, now for Wendy's, like this is our recruiting tool that like permanently we have this flexibility. Everybody can work from home. And like now we're hiring people out that are like, we've hired people out in Houston and Denver and North Carolina, and they have no plans of ever coming to Ohio, or anything like that.
Yeah, it's funny how all that changed. Like that hasn't really been the case with my company in some ways. Like our company is actually splitting into 2 different states. But so that'll be interesting. And I don't think that would have happened because without the pandemic, probably. Although that might have been
also had the pandemic and also some of the there's
a bigger part of it for us was like that after the pandemic, a lot of people in our company was like, well, I just want to live in a different state that handled this better. And so they're moving there, and we're like, okay, that's fine. People that want to move can move. People that don't have to.
People that like Corey in our church was from Alabama. It's from working for an Alabama company, and he moved to Ohio now.
Dang.
And that's just the way it's going to be. And even I know other people that are changing jobs, like in the IT field, like that will never go back to their office. No, but some of them are switching jobs to like other states, but even people that are here locally are like, they're never going to go back because why would they have to?
Yeah.
Especially if like
I mean,
IT.
I'm at a big, obviously like a big corporation, and so like I've got people that, part of our own tax team that I have not seen in a year and a half now in person. And some of them, like we've got a person that up and moved to Denver. We got a person that up and moved to Maine.
Yeah.
And they're still working for Wendy's. And, that was like, okay,
burgers.
like I used to sit literally catty corner from them day by day. And now I may never see them in person again.
Yeah.
Like
it's weird. This is,
I'll see them on a screen.
This is the world we live in now. Well, this was a fun COVID trivia episode. We're gonna press pause here and come back. Well, you'll have another episode in 2 weeks. I think that's the plan. So thanks for hanging out with us. And this has been Three Brothers Talking. If you have any fun COVID fail predictions, let us know, and always give us your thoughts. Our email is threebrotherstalking@gmail.com, and tell us what you think. But we did it. We're back together. We nailed it. So in this, I guess, it's just like old times. Just like old times. But
I think it was good.
I think it was good. Exactly. Now it's just like old times. And I will. I guess we'll see you guys next time.